Do you develop great backend systems but find that making a website look nice is a dark art? Do you ever wish there were some easy fixes for that problem? That totally describes me. Unfortunately, there's no way to make design easy or mechanical, but there are a few tricks you can drop in to spruce up your struggling pages. We've already seen how Bootstrap can do wonders for us, but it doesn't stop there. In this week's episode, we look at a few more tricks savvy developers can use to fake the appearance of design skills, or that experienced design folks can use to save some initial setup. Let's face it, while I agree that in time, our site will be most triumphant, the truth is, Node Slash will never be a super site until we have Eddie Van Halen on guitar, or designing our web pages. Until we get some decent design into our web pages. Even with this brave warrior standing guard, this site just isn't screaming, I want to spend some time here. Wouldn't it be nice if there were a single line of code we could drop in that could change that a bit? Well, let's open up app views layouts home.jade. Watch me just paste this in, and bam, that spruced up a bit. Let's have a look at that line. It's a single CSS file, but where's it coming from? Let's break it down. First, we have the double slash. In URLs, you've probably seen HTTP or HTTPS to the left of the double slash. This version just means use the protocol that the containing page was already using. So if this were a secure page, we'd pull the CSS file using HTTPS. If not, we use standard HTTP. This is really handy so that we don't get one of those browser warnings about mixed HTTP and HTTPS content. Most users don't get the distinction between those, and all they see is security warning, hide. Next, what is this bootstrapcdn.com? Let's have a look at it. It's a content delivery network set up and maintained by Justin Dorfman and Joshua Mervine. Sorry if I butchered your last names. Be sure to drop them a thanks on Twitter. This sort of thing is a total labor of love, and basically it means that if you don't want to host Bootstrap on your own server, you can use theirs. Theirs has the advantage of being a CDN, and likely has an endpoint closer to your users than your server. We're going to take advantage of that, but first, what is Bootswatch? Let's click through on that link, and we see that Bootswatch is a collection of color schemes and font combinations that can give you a nice default look. While Bootstraps isn't bad, at least to this non-designer, Bootswatch makes it even better. You can play around with the different themes they offer by just dropping in the name of the theme in the link tag here like so. Here's how you'd get the Yeti theme, which is one of my favorites. Let's point out that these theme files we're pulling here also include Bootstrap itself, so we don't have to require both. Now our page didn't quite pick up the Yeti theme exactly as you see it because of what we do next, but first let's change that back to the Cosmo theme. If you remember from our Bootstrap installation, there's a variables.less file which contains the actual color definitions. A Bootswatch theme is simply new values for those variables. When we're on the page of one of these themes, you'll notice this dropdown which lets us download a new variables.less file that defines our new theme. Let's download that and put it in our app style sheets folder. Now we make some changes in our application style sheet, so open app style sheets application.less. First thing, I've added a bunch of styling here that isn't really the point of this episode, so we're not going to go over it. The only thing that might be interesting here we covered back in episode 18, less is more. Also, I've put some layout changes in app views layouts home.jade, but that's just HTML code, and you can get it from the episode code GitHub page I linked to below. Next, let's stop importing our Bootstrap installation because we're not actually modifying any core Bootstrap. Let's reference our new variables.less file though. We need this because even though we're not modifying Bootstrap's definitions, we're using one of the colors down below, and we need the less variable for that to work. Earlier when I dropped in the Yeti theme, I already had the variables.less import statement here, which is why our theme didn't quite match what Yeti defined. And there you go. How a Utah-based engineer uses one weird trick for better web design, using stuff made by people more talented than I. One other gift we're using is Font Awesome. Bootstrap already ships with glyph icon halflings, and Font Awesome solves a similar problem. We drop it in with a one-liner back in app views layouts home.jade. And then you can see it in use like so in app views home.jade. And that shows up like this on the rendered page, that little road symbol right there. Using Font Awesome is just like glyph icons. First, we declare a div of class FA, and then we also add the specific icon that we're after, in this case FA road. You can see the full list of Font Awesome icons at the Font Awesome website, which I link to in the show notes. But that's not all. From the Bootswatch website, you might notice this link to wrapbootstrap.com. This is a commercial site in the same vein as themeforest.com, if you've heard of that one. What's different, and in my opinion better, or more better depending on how you look at that, is all of the themes here are built with Bootstrap. You can get things like good admin templates or company site pages. You can even filter by which version of Bootstrap the templates were built on. Now, I don't think a drop-in template quite achieves the same level as custom design work done specifically for your project, any more than backend as a service is a replacement for a dedicated backend engineering team. But custom design work is a minimum of 4 figures, unless you're good at design yourself. But even then, it's a time sink. $18 to get you up and running, especially if you're working on a hobby project or an internal tool at your company, is great. And lest the question arise, neither Learn All the Nodes nor I receives any compensation from wrapbootstrap.com. I've just found their site really useful. For one last tool, suppose that you want to pick your own color scheme. There's science to picking colors, science that pretty much eludes me. Luckily, there's a tool that can fake some of that. I don't know how Adobe pronounces this. I say cooler, even though it could just be a weird spelling of color, but the salient point is that it's found at cooler.adobe.com. Basically, with this tool you pick a primary color, and then it generates colors that go with that one based on certain rules. You can get different shades, complementary colors, and that sort of thing. You can play with individual colors. If you have a photo on your machine, you can upload it. Cooler will then generate a color scheme for you based on that photo. Pretty slick. Well, there you have some ways to get your visuals up and running quickly. Our normally scheduled sequence was going to be part 2 of authorization, but to do that, we were going to have to add a bunch of new pages, and I didn't want to add those and have them look drab. So we took a slight detour to help our app look better. I've gotten a lot of mileage out of Bootswatch, so I hope you find that resource as useful as I have. Wrap Bootstrap is also pretty nice. Looking forward to the next one, and until then, happy coding.